Hi, my name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. In this short video, I share with you some tips on how to answer some killer interview questions that you may be asked. Generally, there are three types of interview questions. One is a standard interview question such as, where do you live? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And so on. Second type is a behavioral type of interview question. Things like, tell me about a time when, or what would you do if this were to happen? Third type of interview questions is what I call a wildcard question. So this would be an example of this would be, if you were an animal, what type of animal would you be and why? Or what's your favorite book and why? These are your three general types of interview questions that you may have. Now these are killer interview questions that you may have. Now these are questions that if I was interviewing someone for an internal position or otherwise, I may be asking employees for this, or job seekers. Now this is designed to get people out of their comfort zone. So you'll get more information, or as a recruiter, I would get more information about a candidate by asking these types of questions. So first of all, what is the biggest mistake you made in your life and what did you learn from it? I want to know honestly what the person had done and what they learned from it. If in 3 months from now the job didn't turn out to be what you wanted it to be, what would you do? If I hear things like, I'm going to quit, well, that's a bit of a turnoff to me as a recruiter. I would want someone to answer in such a way to say, like, I would want to speak with the manager and kind of understand where we went off the rails a little bit. Number 3 is, what is your perfect job? And along with that, I typically ask on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the perfect job, what would you give this position? I'm looking to find out how close I am to finding the person's perfect job. If I'm an 8 or above, then I think I'm on my way to finding a perfect position for this individual. There might be some hurdles, and I would ask a follow-up question to say, what would make it a 10? But if I find out that the person's saying 7.5, 7 or less, then it's probably not the right person for the job. And in all fairness, it's probably not the right job for the candidate either. What is one misconception people have about you? Why shouldn't I call for a reference, and who should I not call for a reference and why? This gives me an idea as, well, you shouldn't call this person. Well, what are you afraid of me hearing about? I don't care if there's good news or bad news. Hey, I understand that over the years people find that there are certain jobs that work well and managers that they work well with, and other associates as well. But I also understand that not every workplace is perfect for an individual and vice versa. What do you think will be the biggest challenges you will face in your first 3 months on this job? Gives me an idea as to what struggles and what training I may have to give them. What kind of person do you like to work with? That gives me an idea of if this is the right environment for an individual. You are on your deathbed. What do you want to be remembered for? So to me, it looks to legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? What are your legacy points that you're interested in people knowing about? Can you do this job and why? I want to know if there's going to be any struggles that people are going to have in this role. Why are you qualified for the position? Tell me in your own words why you think you're qualified for the role. What was your most and least satisfying job and why? Again, it gives me a bit of an idea as to whether this position is going to be a good position for them in particular, for the candidate in question. What are top 2 professional traits that people in the company will miss or not miss the most about you? So this gives me a little bit more information about you and your personality. What was unfair about your last job? What motivates you and what doesn't? What's your goal? 5 years, 2 years, 10 years. Tell me in no more than 2 words what you think we do. That's pretty hard to do. So these are really tough killer interview questions that you may be asked, and you should be prepared for them. And maybe just a couple more here. What industries are you interested in? And this, again, gives me a bit of a picture as to what you are about. And finally, if your company is to offer you a counteroffer to stay, what would you do? Now, you may not know what a counteroffer is, so I'm just going to give you an explanation. A counteroffer is if you are working, you get another offer for another opportunity, and you go to your existing employer and you let them know that you found another job and you're quitting. Well, what happens is that company may not want you to go. So they offer you a counteroffer. They might change your salary. They might improve your benefits. They might give you a promotion just in order to stay. Typically, it's not a good idea to accept a counteroffer, and there's different reasons why. I won't get into it on this video, but generally speaking, an employer may ask you, if you were to receive a counteroffer, would you stay and why? So you may have your own interview questions that you have been asked or you wonder that should be asked. Feel free to share them in the comments section here. But ultimately, when you're doing interviews and preparing for them, practice, practice, practice. Be prepared for any type of interview question that might come up, because you never know. These are interview questions that I share with employers, I share with job seekers, and more. Thanks for watching. Again, my name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. You may find some of those interview questions and more in my book called Tales from the Recruiter. You can get a copy of it at talesfromtherecruiter.ca, or you can also get it at Amazon or Kobo. Feel free to also follow TorontoJobs.ca on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And check out our TorontoJobs.ca YouTube channel, where you can find videos on many topics that relate to job search and more. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Stay safe, be well, and have a great day.